Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at a Ribble Sportiva carbon front disc fork for road bikes, and it is tapered, so it's 100 millimeters across the axle width, 1 1/8 inches on top, and 1 1/4 inches on the bottom. I'll go ahead and show you some measurements, and we'll go ahead and take a close look at this Ribble full carbon fiber fork. So I was looking for a carbon fiber fork to put on my road bike that is also disc compatible, that is 1 1/8 on top and 1 1/4 below. When I received the fork, all it came with is a little spacer here to prevent it from damage from shipping, and it's not the actual through axle. So go ahead and take that out, and it was nicely wrapped in bubble wrap. And I had contacted Ribble after making the purchase and asked them if a through axle was included. This is a 12 millimeter axle by 100 millimeter inner width, and I believe the outer width could be up to about 120. If you notice here, it's tapered. It's a little thicker down there than it is up here. I'll go ahead and measure the whole length of that steer if you like. So from the bottom of the steer to the top comes right at 300 millimeters long. Okay. So the lower, the very bottom, is approximately 33.2 millimeters wide. I'm going to try it again. And this part's about 33.1 millimeters wide. So if you measure your lower, come around 33 millimeters, you should be okay with this as a fork. The upper, 28.92, 28.56. So if you come around 20.5 to 29, this should also work for the upper portion. Also, since I could put my finger through there, it does not come with a top cap or an expansion plug, a carbon assembly expansion plug. It also does not come with any type of crown race, so you have to make sure you get either another one or you're able to pull it off your other fork. Also, and almost most importantly, it does not come with the through axle. So you really have to contact them to make sure you can get a through axle. Same with all of the other forks. If you're going to buy a carbon disc fork with a through axle, either 15 millimeter wide, 12 millimeter wide, and there's also a variety. I think mountain bikes, they come in different widths too. Now 100 millimeters or 110. Road has typically been sticking with 100 millimeters wide on the inner dimension here by 12 millimeter through axle, so this is an M12. The other confusing thing for other forks they need to be a little aware of is that even though it's a 12 millimeter here for the through axle, they could put a 10 or they could put an 8 millimeter or something different on the inside. So there's so many different through axles, you just have to know which one you're getting. So if you end up with a different manufacturer, you have to contact them or find on their specs to see what kind of threading, the pitch, as in how many threads there are, and how thick it is, and how long the bolt you need. So this is a 6 millimeter hex, and I had originally asked them to include a through axle, and unfortunately it was not in the package. So I contacted Ribble, and they had real good customer support, and they went ahead and sent me another through axle, or they sent me the through axle that wasn't included. So let's go ahead and look at the specs of this through axle. There's no labelings, markings. It doesn't say if it's M12, it doesn't say how long it is, it doesn't say the pitch, the diameter of the threads, etc. So what I have in front of me here is a little chart to help figure out your bolt size, and I'm going to use this handy tool to figure out the size of the threads here on the through axle. So it is a 12 millimeter, so I'm going to start with the M12. So I'm going to go through and see if it fits through. And it fits through, it looks like it fits through almost perfectly, so I'm going to say this is an M12 thread. If I put it on any of the other ones, or an M10, you see it doesn't fit. And if I put it under this 1/2 inch here on the bigger one, you can kind of see it's a little loose. So I think M12 is the perfect fit, so it's an M12 threading. There's no real easy way to show this, but the threads is about 10 or 11 millimeters across. That's the thread length. And when I asked Ribble, they said that the pitch is 1.5 millimeters. So let me explain that real quick. So if you look at the threads here, there's a distance between the tops of each thread, and between each thread it should be 1.5 millimeters. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to show this. So I go to 1, let me go to 1.5. And that little distance right there should be the distance between each thread. So you just have to kind of take Ribble and my word for it that it says pitch of 1.5 millimeters. So between the thread here and the thread here, that's 1.5 millimeters. This might be a little hard to see, but the total length of the boat from the inside dimensions is almost exactly 119 or 120 millimeters across. The external part, it doesn't really matter of that, but I can measure that also. This dimension here is about 8.6 millimeters. That's what's going to stick out the end on the end of the fork right here. It'll probably stick out a little bit. So to summarize the through axle for the fork, the inner diameter, inner width right here is 100 millimeters, and the total length from inside to the out here is 120 millimeters. And then this threading is a M12 with a pitch of 1.5, and you need to know that the thread length of this is about 10 millimeters. Alright, so this is the right side of the fork, and I'm going to put it in and kind of see how easy it is to screw in. So it can be done by hand, and it's getting a little tight here. And I guess I could use this to screw it in a little bit here. Okay, so it's screwed in, and as I mentioned, there's like 8 millimeters sticking out on this end. So you can see it kind of sticks out a little bit here, and on the other end, let's take a look. It sticks out just a little bit, but I think that's because there's no wheel or hub inside. When there's a hub inside, it'll probably recess just a little bit. Alright, another measurement that's very important for the road bikes is the axle to crown. So this is the axle right here, and this is the crown right up here on the top. So let's take a look at this axle to crown measurement. I have the through axle in. It was listed as 375 millimeters in the question and answer section at Ribble. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it's probably spot on, 375 millimeters to the very center of the axle there. So the axle to crown on my other road bike is approximately 367 millimeters. So this is about 7-8 millimeters longer. Alright, the width between the two bolts center to center for the disc brakes is approximately 70 millimeters. So I've got their website here on the phone, and it says that it is 385 grams with the tire clearance up to 28 millimeters, flat mount disc, and the offset 45 millimeters. Let's go ahead and check on this weight, 385 grams. Alright, my initial guess is that this is heavier than 385 grams. It definitely doesn't feel like an ultralight fork. And it comes in at about 416 grams, and that's with this little straw in here. And I think, yep, it's off the table. 416 grams uncut. So all the way across with almost, let me see, no space would be about, nope, let me go like this. There we go. Make sure I can turn it. Would be, let's say, 36 millimeters across. It says the widest tire up to 28 millimeters. And I don't know how tall it'll go if you have a bigger tire, if it'll rub on the top. So let's go check that out. Alright, I'm back here, and what I have with me is a cyclocross tire. It measures at 33 millimeters across, and this is on a, I think, 15C rim. It's an old school Mavic Serum SL. And I measured it with the calipers, but I haven't checked to see if it's going to work with this Ribble fork. My guess, probably as good as yours, is that it won't fit. Let's see. I'm going to pretend that it's over here. And it looks to be a little too tight. Let me put it all the way down to about where the axle is. And that's where the axle is. As you can tell, 33 millimeters is just not going to fit. Even though it's 36 millimeters wide, I think the front part or the rear part, some part is just a little too narrow. So even though measured at 36 at one of the widest parts of the top of the fork, the rest of it does not fit. Alright, now what I have in front of me is a light bicycle AR56 rim, and it is 56 millimeters deep, but the internal width of this rim is 23 millimeters. So I have a Continental GP5000 tire, GP4000 tire. This is the 4000, and it is 25 millimeters wide. However, when I put it on a 23C rim, it balloons out to 29 millimeters. So, do you think it'll fit? 29 millimeters. And my guess is I hope it fits, because that's what I'm going to be using. I already built this up as a disc hub. So here we go. And this is without the through axle in. And it looks like we got some clearance. There might be about 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters on one side, and maybe 3.5 on the other side. And I guess if we go all the way around, let me go ahead and put it up right. And give it a little spin. And it looks like this fits. So 29 millimeters fits, but Ribble says that it should take up to 28C or 28 millimeters external width, measured width, and it looks like this 29 millimeter fits just fine. Okay, so if you're into the older rims with the narrower inner rim width, this one I think is 15 millimeters because it's an older serum, and this is a Continental GP4000 S2, just like the other tire, and a 25 millimeter Continental GP4000 should measure exactly 25 millimeters. However, this one came out to about 25.5. It's not a brand new tire, so it's been used for a little bit, and this should fit even better. However, this is not a through axle, so I could only hold it up and kind of try to balance it in the middle to see how it fits. As you can see here, from a 25C tire, it fits quite a bit better. There's quite a bit spacing on both sides, so no problem there clearance wise for the tire. So looking back at this fork, I could zoom out a little bit. The disc flat mount disc brake calipers will go right here. The cable should run through here and through the fork. I'm not sure if you have to have brake housing go all the way through, or if you could put it here and it runs straight through and then use housing again right there. And then it comes out up here. Well, there you have it. There's a close look at this Ribble Sportiva carbon fiber flat mount disc road fork. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. Also, thank you in advance if you do subscribe or hit that thumbs up like button, and I do hope you make it to another one of the videos. Thanks for watching and sticking with me through this process. See you in the next video.